Okay, Firebase, it's great. We all know, especially when we start, that it's very easy to prepare everything. But as soon as your project starts to grow a little bit and becomes more complex, you realize that there are some parts which are a bit tricky. For example, it's really complicated to delete all the data of a user. If you are used to work with SQL or other platforms, it's very simple. But when it comes to Firestore, it's extremely complicated to delete all the data from a user. You have to, if you've been once in this situation, you know what I'm talking about. And you need to do that because Firestore is extremely expensive when it comes to store large amounts of data. So that, and for example, there was another problem, is you cannot do like full text search, which is like, really? Are you kidding me? No, it's not possible either. And so those things, among others, made Firestore very easy to start with simple projects, but really complicated to work with when the project was getting larger. Fortunately, lately Firebase has added this new option in the menu, extensions. I must say beforehand that this is not a course for beginners. I'm not going to set up any Firebase. So you need to have some experience in order to follow this course. Experience with Firebase, I mean, with the Firebase platform. Okay, so there's this new section on the menu called extensions, and kind of sorts the problems that there were before. Okay, so I'm gonna make this small course where I will cover all these extensions, or at least the most important. And I will start first with the extension that allows us to delete the data of a user. Okay, so I have a user created, and I have the UID, right? And I have a small database because this is enough for this small tutorial. I have two collections, chat and users. And if you pay attention, this ID is the same ID of the user, VDN, right? Which is kind of the usual pattern that we Firestore developers use to store data in Firebase. To make things a bit more complicated, I created a sub-collection for this user, which is also a very common pattern, okay, with another document. So let's assume this scenario. This user stops being a user in our platform, and we, of course, want to delete all his data because, as we all know, or at least I can tell you, Firestore becomes extremely expensive when about storing large amounts of data, right? So there is an extension here. You have to come to, if we're in Firestore database, extensions, okay, and this one, delete user data, okay? And what do we have to do? This extension promise us to delete all the data, either in Firestore, real-time database, or cloud storage, related to this user. Okay, I will also create here, I will not use the real-time database, but believe me, that also works. But I will create also now a folder with the same ID of this user, and I will upload any file. Okay, so we have also storage with the in the folder with the ID of the user. There is some data of this user. Right. We go back to the extensions. Here, delete user data, install, and we have to follow. It's really simple. I've just installed two before in another project, two of these extensions, and you just have to follow the steps. Okay, so first asks you to enable the billing system because this is not available with the free tier. I have it already enabled, but if not, you have to allow the which is the Blaze plan, I think is the name, so that they can charge you, because be careful, these extensions are not free. Okay, I'm not gonna cover now the price. If you want to check the price, go here, but these are not free. They are not very expensive either, but take it into account. Okay, we click next, and it informs us which are the APIs and the services that are necessary for this extension to work. It will because for us it creates a cloud function, right? We will check later if it has created a cloud function for us or not. But basically, this is just informative. So we click next again. We are now in the third step, and here is explaining us which are the roles and permissions that this extension will need. It's just descriptive, because this is all made automatically for us. Okay, and here is where we need to do something. Like, this is where we need to add the data. And first we have to choose the location. Okay, and then here is the most important section. Here is the most important section. Here you need to put which collection and which will be the place where is the data that we want to delete. Okay, so let me open another. I will put here the Firestore database. Now, this is our collection. So we have our database. So we have two collections, chat and users. Okay, so here we have to say in the chat collections everything, and this is how they ask you. This is how you determine the variable. Okay, how you determine the user ID that will match with the user deleted, because this extension, what it's doing is that when you delete a user from the Firebase authentication panel, either manually or automatically, all these will be triggered. Okay, so we say first of all that this collection, comma, and here we keep adding all the collections that will need to do the same process. If you have 10 collections that follow the same pattern, you'll have to do the same. So I have mine is called users. So users UID. And for example, if I had another one called data, right, with the same UID, I should add here data. You follow me, right? And you have to add here with commas as many collections as you want them to delete. Now you see the shallow or recursive. What does it? This is important. Shallow, it means that would only delete. You have all this in the description. One level deep. So in the users, in chat, if I leave it as shallow, would delete only this level but not the subcollection. Okay, and if I put it as recursive, will delete all the collections and subcollections. So okay, so normally what you will need is recursive. But this is if you have structured your database in this like this, the most usual is that you need to set it as recursive, but keep that in mind. Real-time databases, you should do the same, but with the real-time database, but I'm not going to cover that here. The same structure, okay? And here, yeah, and this is the storage. So in the storage, we should do the same that we did with the Firestore. In my case, I have the storage, and so the structure is default dash UID, right? default, which I guess is that you know that Firebase if you don't know, I inform you, Firebase automatically creates for you a storage in Google Cloud Storage. And this is the default name. If you use another location, you should specify here the name of the location that you can find in the Google Cloud Platform. But if you didn't do anything, if you didn't get out of Firebase, this name should be enough, right? And it's the default. So in this constant is stored this name. Okay, and now here we say UID in caps lock. Right, now this enable auto rediscovery. What is this? Enable this extension to fire state connection to delete. Okay, this is in case this is really smart, auto discovery. Well, I will not enable it because I have a, but I guess you can imagine what this is doing. This is automatically by itself guessing, like matching the UIDs with whichever collections and sub-collections finds, but we'll not do it like that. We'll do it manually, but I guess, and maybe I do another video another day to check this option, but for now we will use the manual option. Auto discovery, imagine, like, okay, this is like how many levels deep it goes. I'll do another video with this. Because we have it now, so this is not important. User ID, search function, URL, optional, okay. Enable events, view. I'm not sure what is this doing, but for now, we will leave it like this because this covers the most common scenarios. I installed the extension. It might take from 3 to 5 minutes, so I will stop the video. Okay, now it's installed, right? And if we go to get started, you are directed to the section of, to extensions, okay? They allow you to go to access to the extensions through this gateway, but if you want to find the extension, you should go here, okay? And here it is. This is the extension that I have enabled. If I click on manage, I could change the configuration, right? And these sections, we will cover them in other videos. And for example, if I create a new collection and I also want that this extension tracks that collection, then I click reconfigure and I add it here, okay? But let's see now the extension in action, okay? So I go to the authentication section where I have this user, and this is the user that I want to delete. Remember, we have that the user has data in the storage and inside his folder with the same that has the same ID, and also has 3 collections where there is data of this user. Okay. I would love, I don't know if somebody from Firebase is listening to me, that they allow this option to activate only when you disable an account and not necessarily when you delete the account. Because if you disable the account, nothing happens. You see, the data is still on there. So I don't know. I think it would be great if you could also allow that trigger to launch also when you disable the account, but that's not how it is currently. That's it. So we have the account, and now we delete this account, and it's quite fast. Now in chat it was deleted. You see that we had with the document has been deleted. And the other I made a small mistake. These two other collections, they had no more documents, so the whole collection has been deleted, because in Firestore you need to have, if a collection doesn't have any documents, disappears from your, well, disappears, doesn't exist. But this proves that it worked. Okay, that in chat I had a previous document, that's why still the collection is here. Things that happens when you do the videos quickly. And here I'm clicking, believe me, and nothing appears because there are no documents. But the chat and all the sub collections have been deleted. And if we go to the storage, you see that why it's not loading. If we go to the storage, we find that the previous folder, which started by VZO, is not here anymore. Okay, and that's it. That's a very basic setting of the Firestore, of the extension, to delete all the data related to a user. The most general use, I mean, the most basic manual configuration, which covers, I guess, majority of cases. But we will go in deep in that extension in other videos. See you.